Welcome back. Now, we've come a long way. We've replicated equation 1 and equation 2 so far. We've got 2 more to go, then we can put it all together and create the vision transformer. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, we want to test our MSA block. So we'll create an instance of our MSA block, which combines multi-head self-attention and a layer norm, and then we will pass our patch image through it. So multi-head self-attention block, we're just going to set it equal to our class that we created above. We're translating the paper into reusable PyTorch code. So multi-head self-attention block, and then we have a few inputs here. We need the embedding dimension. We don't necessarily have to set this, of course, because we have a default value. Number of heads, which is the number of attention heads. We'll set that to 12. We could increase that if we wanted to build a larger vision transformer architecture, but we're going to stick with VIT base. And then we set the attention dropout to 0. We keep going. Let's now pass the patch and position image embedding sequence, that is, sequence through our MSA block. And we'll go patched image through MSA block. A little bit of a creative variable name there. And I'm just going to scroll up. So this is in the center of my page there. So multi-head self-attention block. You might have already tried this out. I've got a typo, classic, multi-head. And then we'll pass it in the patch and position embedding. Is that all it's called? Yeah. So this is what we created before. We turned our image tensor into a patch and position embedding, just like in the figure. So what we're doing now is we're passing this, our embedded patches, through these 2 layers. And mind you, we're missing this skip connection here, but we're going to code that later on when we make the overall transformer encoder. So we jump back into Colab. And let's see what happens here. So print F, let's get input shape of MSA block and patch and position embedding shape. You know I love to always find out the input and output shapes of different layers. Output shape of MSA block, which is just going to be the patched image through MSA block dot shape. So let's see what happens here. Oh no, what's going on? Cannot assign module before init call. What have we done? Oh, I think I've forgotten super. Did you catch that? Super.init. I often forget that. But that's what coding's all about. Oh, look at that. It works. Our patched image through the MSA block works. So the input shape of the MSA block is 197,768, so our number of patches. And then what? The shape doesn't change. But that doesn't mean the values don't change. Oh, I've mistyped this as well. Block. Is that going to work? Oh, I've mistyped this as well. Okay, there we go. So even though the shape doesn't change, that doesn't mean the values haven't changed. So let's grab this. And we may see this as being almost incomprehensible because there's so many values here. But that's not up to us to decide. So you notice that the patch and position embedding, as it goes through the multi-head self-attention block, all the values get adjusted here. Now, to me, these values don't really make sense. But again, this is not for me to decipher. This is for our neural network to learn a representation of an image. And of course, these values are just going to be randomized, much like these are. Well, these are from an actual image, but these values are going to be randomized because, well, we've instantiated our layer here with random values and our neural network hasn't done any learning yet. So hopefully later on, these values, as our image goes through multiple layers of this MSA block, multiple transformer encoders, looks at multiple different samples of image, the representation that this patched image through the MSA block forms is a good quality representation. So with that being said, it looks like our MSA block is ready to go. How about we now move on to equation 3, or the MLP block. And now that you've seen how the MSA block is done, you might want to set a challenge for yourself to replicate what we've just done with the MLP block. I'll give you a hint. It's going to be very similar to what we've done here. But instead of a multi-head self-attention layer, you're going to create an MLP layer. So give that a shot, and I'll see you in the next video. We'll start to move towards replicating equation 3.